Good morning, everyone. Today we're going to read from Psalm 126. It's one of the Song of Ascents, which is a series of psalms from 120 to 134 where the Israelites are kind of singing this song as they're in the pilgrimage towards the mountain, towards Mount Zion, or sometimes they say as they make pilgrimage towards the temple. So let's read that. When the Lord restored the fortunes of Zion, we were like those who dreamed. Our mouths were filled with laughter, our tongues with songs of joy. Then it was said among the nations, the Lord has done great things for them. The Lord has done great things for us, and we are filled with joy. Restore our fortunes, Lord, like streams in the Negev. Those who sow with tears will reap with songs of joy. Those who go out weeping, carrying seed to sow, will return with songs of joy, carrying sheaves with them. So these Song of Ascent, this is when they were in captivity for over 70 years in Babylon, and now they're finally returning, and they're so excited and they're filled with joy. And they're saying that all those tears that we had shed, now they have been sown into the ground, and they have been sown in, and now we're reaping. The fruit of that is joy. And that means that when we cry or when we grieve, that later we will receive joy. But how does that really work, is what I wanted to know. Like how come sometimes we cry and we don't see any joy, and how is that related to us as a Christian and those who follow Jesus? What does that really mean? Is it true really that when you cry and you weep and you're actually sowing those seeds, and then it's going to turn into joy? Well, the only way that really will happen is when we look to Jesus, because Jesus himself is the only one who, through his ultimate, he was the one that did the ultimate in sorrow. He cried, he wept much more than all of us. He took the punishment greater than all of us, and then that turned into the ultimate joy. So when we cry, and we cry because we're angry or sad, we can always look to Jesus and say, well, my pain and my sorrow is not nearly as great as Jesus was. And so, our joy will be complete only when we look to Jesus. Sometimes we cry because of shame or because of guilt. And that also, that shame and that guilt has been taken away by Jesus. So that will turn into joy. So sometimes when we cry or when we are grieving and we have those sorrowful times, we can always look to Jesus as the example and what is in our life, and say that all of our sorrow, when we sow those into Jesus, we will reap that great joy just like Jesus did. And if you see that their mouths were filled with laughter and their tongues were songs of joy, you would never think that this nation that was so enslaved and so saddened by their captivity and being in Babylon, that they would ever feel that joy again. And I know a lot of us are feeling that way now. Will we ever have life like it was before? Will we ever feel that same joy? Will we ever go to a concert and just jump up and down and just sing and laugh and have that same kind of experience? Yes, of course we will. It doesn't seem like it right now. And if you think about 70 years they waited, we just have to wait a little bit longer. And so when you are grieving or when you're feeling that sad, make sure you do it properly in the light of Jesus and in the light of who he is, and knowing that ours is so much smaller than God's, and that we can always compare that and know that our joy will be complete in him. I hope that makes sense to you. It's a little bit deep theologically, but just on the surface, you can also see that, yes, whenever you're feeling sorry for yourself or crying, just always look to Jesus and say, you know what, it's not nearly as bad as Jesus's pain and sorrow. And he says he already took your pain. He already took your pain and sorrow on the cross. So hopefully that will be enough for you to get through that time and to know and to look forward to the hope in him. God bless you and have a wonderful and godly day.